This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 289, baby. Oh yeah. And the very first episode of 2023. Now, I was supposed to make a podcast last week, but in true rock and roll fashion, I didn't. Because when you're rock and roll, you just can't make plans, can you? Well, you can't make plans and stick to them. That's not rock and roll. Anyway, as it's the first pod of the year, I thought I would have a bit of a chat, just you and me today, to tell you about the changes for the new year, because this year I'm actually quite excited. I don't know why. I don't normally get excited by New Year's, but this year I think, this is the year. I'm going to become a father for the second time, and I have in my mind lots of good positive changes for the podcast. Whether they will be good positive changes, we will have to see at the end of the year, won't we? All of that, and as always, I have a story for you. Not that much of a story, more something I want to tell you, which actually is something quite sad, because a friend of mine recently, very sadly, passed away. Now, the friend I'm talking about here is a footballer, was a footballer called Gianluca Vialli, in perfect English pronunciation there. Now, as you can imagine, I never actually met him, but I still call him my friend because I felt like I knew him. Lots of famous footballers have died recently, Pele, Maradona, but I grew up with Vialli, as he was one of the first superstars to come and play in England in the 90s when I was a child, when football was my absolute world. So I saw him speak in hundreds and hundreds of interviews, so I felt like I knew him. So when he died recently, I was actually quite upset. I would say this is the first time, let's say, a famous person has died where I've genuinely been quite upset. Now, why am I telling you this? You're probably thinking, okay, great, but what the hell has that got to do with me? Well, it actually made me think of the relationship that I have with you, because many of you listening right now, I have never ever spoken to. Obviously, if you are in the Rock and Roll English family, I talk to you a lot, and probably I've even met you in person, but there are thousands of you that listen that I'm sure feel like you know me in the same way as I felt like I knew Gianluca Vialli. And I know this because when people join the Rock and Roll English family, I always have an individual session with that person, and the first thing they always say to me is, I feel like I already know you. So I have decided to make this relationship a bit tighter, a bit closer, because it's something I like a lot. I like the fact that you feel like you know me. So we are going to make this relationship stronger because we are going back to a podcast every week now. Because as you know, at the moment, we do a podcast every 2 weeks. The free Monday podcast, obviously in the family, there are lots more podcasts, but this Monday podcast, we are going back to a podcast every week. Also because by doing so, I feel I will be able to help you more, and that is my mission, to help you get better. So every Monday now there will be a podcast from me. But it won't be the same RnR conversation every week, which normally is what Rock and Roll English is, isn't it? A RnR conversation with one of my friends, Dan the Man, the Hellraiser, Corporal Coma, Boom Boom, Mental Marky Mark, and all of the rest of them. That will continue, of course, because, as I mentioned, that's what Rock and Roll English is. But as well as the RnR conversations, I want to do some more things that I like and that will be useful for you. So we will have the RnR conversation every 2 weeks, like now. So nothing will change in that respect. Every 2 weeks, we will have an RnR conversation to listen to with the Hellraiser or someone like that. But then in the other weeks, we will have a podcast, just me and you, where maybe I will tell you a story, maybe even a folk tale, which I now absolutely love telling, and there are many benefits of doing so for learning English. There will be some podcasts about how to, things like how can I improve my English through songs, or is it a good idea to use subtitles when I watch films in English? A few more educational podcasts, let's say. But going back to songs quickly, if you are in the membership area, the Rock and Roll English family, we are going to do lots of stuff with songs this year to learn vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and do lots of live lessons based around songs. Unfortunately, it's more difficult to do on this normal Monday podcast because of those stupid copyright laws. But in the family area, we just do what the hell we want and we make the rules. And the last thing that you will be seeing more of this year is rhymes, poems. That's right, I now love poems and poetry. I think I actually said on this podcast once, poetry is a total waste of time. And I did used to think that. But now I know the reason why poetry exists, because it is an excellent, excellent way to help students of English improve their pronunciation and fluency. Now, students of my online course, Fluency via Pronunciation and Storytelling, will know how much I love poems because we use lots of them in the course. So that's what we're going to start this year off with, a rhyme, a poem, whatever you want to call it, because the idea is you practice saying it with me, and by doing so, you improve your pronunciation and fluency. Now, we are only going to look at this in a less detailed way today than we do on my online course, obviously. But if you are in the family, we are going to make another group video of this rhyme. We did this before Christmas and it was fantastic. And that's something else I want to do. Group projects in the family area, because at the end of the year we will have lots of these brilliant videos to look back on. So, are you ready for today's rhyme? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say it and you just listen, absorb it, okay? Then I will do it again, line by line, and wait for you to say it, okay? So in those few seconds, there will be silence. And in that silence, if you are not in public, I want you to repeat the line that I just said, okay? And really focus on pronunciation, stress, and the rhythm, okay? Send your voice up and down with mine, okay? Then, after we've done it line by line, I will say it again from the top to the bottom, okay? Now, just before we start, there is one complicated word in the rhyme, which is strife, okay? Which basically means anger. And after this rhyme, you will remember that word. Just another one of the benefits of doing this. You also learn vocabulary. So, Are you ready? Let's go. A new beginning, a fresh start, a chance to chase the dreams that live in our heart, to leave behind the pain and the strife and embrace a future filled with life. A new year, a new chance to chase our dreams and learn to dance, to take a risk and step out of our comfort zone and see where the winds of change have blown. So let us celebrate this moment divine and embrace the possibilities that are all ours to find. Here's to a new beginning, full of love and light. May it be a journey that is filled with delight. Dum dum dum, the end. Now you may know why I chose that one, New Year, all of that stuff. So that was the first time of me reading it from top to bottom. Now we're going to do this again. I'm going to say the line, but then you repeat the line with me, after me, okay? Remember, if you're alone, say it. If you're not, say it in your head and then listen back to this later. And you will also find the words to this in the show notes. So, are you ready? Remember, I say the line, I pause, you say the line. Let's go. A new beginning, a fresh start. A chance to chase the dreams that live in our heart. To leave behind the pain and the strife. And embrace a future filled with life. A new year, a new chance. To chase our dreams and learn to dance. To take a risk and step out of our comfort zone and see where the winds of change have blown. So let us celebrate this moment divine and embrace the possibilities that are ours to find. Here's to a new beginning, full of love and light. May it be a journey that is filled with delight. And there we have it. Boom shakalaka. So now we're going to do this again. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. See if you can do it with me. Let's go. A new beginning, a fresh start, a chance to chase the dreams that live in our heart, to leave behind the pain and the strife and embrace a future filled with life. A new year, a new chance to chase our dreams and learn to dance, to take a risk and step out of our comfort zone and see where the winds of change have blown. So let us celebrate this moment divine and embrace the possibilities that are all ours to find. Here's to a new beginning, full of love and light. May it be a journey that is filled with delight. So I hope you enjoyed the first rhyme of the year. I'm not sure how many more there will be because things are rock and roll here, aren't they? But as I said, if you go to the show notes, which you can find in the description to this podcast, you will see this written so you can practice saying it over and over. And one last thing before I go, this Thursday, so the 12th of January, I am doing 2 totally free, no obligation trial lessons for my new course, Fluency via Pronunciation and Storytelling, live on Zoom. Real live lessons, no video recorded lessons. And remember, I am a real person. So come along to the lesson and say hello. Again, just pause the episode right now, click on the link in the description, and then you will find the link to book your totally free place. So I hope to see you on Thursday. Remember to practice this rhyme that I have left you today. If you are in the Rock and Roll English family, I will see you tomorrow for the Facebook Live and to make this week's rhyming videos. So, in one way or another, I will see you very soon. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.